Hey guys, this is Solution PODFIC, and today we're going to be reading Green Through and Through by Another Fucking Robin. This is Chapter 14. Peter is getting dressed the next morning when he hears papers slide across wood downstairs. When he goes to investigate, he finds that he has mail. One small parcel, one envelope. The parcel is brown and has an incredibly intimidating crest, printed on it in blue that's addressed to him. The envelope is plain white and it's addressed to Matt. He opens the envelope first, slightly overwhelmed by the freakishly royal-looking coat of arms on the parcel. It says, well, legally Matt's, but semantics, debit card. Sweet. However, now he has nothing to stall opening the parcel. It's not that it's dangerous, his spidey sense is at its baseline level for Crime Alley. No. It's that he recognizes that damn symbol. It's the crest of Gotham Preparatory Academy. He remembers seeing the slogan, Historia Magistere Vita. It was on the examiner's lanyard. You have freakishly good eyesight, Peter. A useful ability. I wish to study you, Spinner. We would have had much fun. Miss Walters, Loki, and Princess Shuri of Wakanda? All say at once. Oh, thanks. Well, thanks, Miss Walters. Thanks, Mr. Lafferson. And, oh my god, Princess Shuri. Your work in biological engineering and almost all fields of physics are unrivaled. And you're literally iconic, and oh my god. Peter, take a breath. You and Princess can nerd out later. Now open the letter. Oh, right. Other head voices. He feels his face flush with embarrassment and busies himself with opening the parcel to try and distract him from their jokes at his nerdiness. He tips the contents out into the floor, and a true avalanche of papers fall out. There is a map of the campus, a quick overview of the courses they offer, a rundown of what the scholarship offers, a list of uniforms that he needs to buy before Monday, and where to buy it all. Peter's timetable, he was moved up a grade and has AP classes in everything, except history and English, which, fair enough. So his days will consist of AP Bio, AP Chem, AP Physics, AP Math, AP Calculus, Mechanical Engineering, History, and English. And a letter. The letter isn't from the school at all, it's from someone else, someone rich if the smell of the paper is anything to go by. You're a weird kid, Pete. The mystery letter is printed on softer paper. Using incredibly expensive ink, it smells fairly of cologne and rich coffee, and it reads as follows. Dear Mr. Parker, I am pleased to award you the Thomas and Martha Wayne Scholarship Fund, which includes full tuition to Gotham Preparatory Academy and an academic stipend of $100 a week that will be deposited in your account every Friday. Your classes will begin on September 13th, and you will be required to meet with the guidance counselor on your first day to confirm that you are happy with your classes that have been selected for you. I look forward to seeing what you can accomplish. Congratulations, Bruce Wayne. That's not ominous at all. Peter has a somewhat regular day on the surface at least. He leaves the bookshop at a normal time, definitely not over an hour early because that would be irrational, and he makes his way over at a normal human walking speed, obviously. And once he gets there, he chats with Kat about Rapunzel, her favorite Disney princess. His favorite Disney princess is Princess Leia, who Kat claims doesn't count, but he isn't going to argue with a 7-year-old about the Disney status of Leia. And he bickers playfully with Arthur about the merits of a frying pan as a melee weapon. And he most definitely does not zone out on the conversation multiple times because he is distracted by the ever-present dread in his gut. Why is he totally not full of debilitating nervousness, you might ask? It's his first day of school. Yay! He arrives on campus half an hour early looking rumpled and windswept. Yeah, that happens when your mode of transportation is riding on the outside of a train. It is a wonder how you survived into adolescence. You have no self-preservation skills. He's worse than Steve. I didn't think that was even possible. He distractedly waves Sam and Bucky's concerns and thanks the vaguely familiar voice for his accurate, if blunt, observation. He does his best to smooth the wrinkles out of his shirt and flatten down his hair so it looks carefully ruffled and less recently electrocuted. Being early won't matter if he looks like he was just skydiving. He has to look presentable. He has to blend in. He is endlessly thankful that the bruise on his face has finally faded. As soon as students start gathering around campus, he realizes that blending in is going to be next to impossible. Everyone has perfectly manicured nails and neatly trimmed hair. They have smooth shirts and straight ties. They have casually worn watches and bracelets worth more than his queen's apartment and all his life savings. Everything screams, we're better than you and we know it. He sticks out like a sore thumb. His entire uniform and stationery were bought frantically over the last 2 days from various thrift shops and charity bins, and it shows. His vest and trousers are too big, hanging off his frame, and cuffed at the ankles. It makes him look even more skinny and anemic than he does on his own, which would be impressive if it weren't so mortifying. His shirt is light gray instead of pristine white like everyone else, bought from a thrift shop dollar bin rather than the school website like the rest of the students. His tie won't lay flat. The Miss Walters in his head had tried to help him out with it, seeing as the only time he's ever worn a tie was at Uncle Ben's funeral and Aunt May did it for him. But it was really hard to follow without a visual aid. And his shoes, scuffed and mud-stained red high-top Converse that might as well be a blazing neon sign that screams, "Look at me, I'm poor," when compared to the shiny black dress shoes of everyone else. The bell rings and he rushes in. He sits down at the empty desk with a huff and shrugs his backpack off. The meeting with the counselor took too long. First he couldn't find the man's room because it was up a staircase that had no signage. Then the man took an infuriatingly long time to locate Peter's file out of an honest-to-God filing cabinet. Peter knows that the internet sucks in this universe, but it has to be more convenient to use than keeping every student's file in a cabinet. And he only took so long because he started at A, even though both Peter's first and last names start with P. Peter was too awkward to correct him and had to sit and watch. When he finally located the file and read out the subjects, Peter quickly agreed and rushed off to his English class, which having to use a super speed to get there on time. He slings his bag onto the floor at his feet and pulls out the only two things in there, his notebook and his pencil. Yes, he knows he should have more stationery. But the uniform and backpack, as well as a visit to the laundromat to clean both the uniform and the rest of his clothes, cost over $100. And without a job or his stipend until Friday, he was uncomfortable using any more. Bruce's money is supposed to be saved for Spiderman stuff, webs, a suit, and maybe a heater for the bookshop. He doesn't like how fast his money was slipping, so one notebook and one pencil will have to do. His spider senses hum and a mild warning at the back of his skull, a frequency that he has long since been trained out of listening to by Flash Thompson. The duck if you want frequency, as he calls it. A paper ball hits the back of his head and he rolls his eyes. There might be a new record for how quickly a bully has managed to single him out before. Aw, look, the charity case doesn't even have a pencil case. How sad. There's snickers from a group of boys behind him, which he steadfastly ignores. Yep, this is a new record. He sits at an empty lunch table with his heaping plate and his most unimpressed face. Trademark. Rich kids really are the worst. Like, sure, no locker knocker time, no penis Parker. The kids here are too high and mighty for insults like that. Rich kids don't bully because they see an easy target. They bully because they find poverty offensive. So no, students at Gotham Prep didn't resort to childish names and physical violence like those at Midtown. Instead, they chose to torment him for the crime of his social class and mock him for sounding like a girl. Which doesn't have him seeing green. It doesn't. It doesn't help that Peter is a year younger than the kids in all his classes and is therefore assumed to be a pushover. And it is endlessly frustrating that he is forced to stay reserved and meek, not because he has a reputation for, like at Maytown, but because he risks losing his scholarship. And it certainly doesn't help that he's been on edge all day because he's being watched again. Peter's getting so tired of being stalked. He hasn't even done anything cool in this universe yet. He isn't Spider-Man, yet, but he guesses that the lack of a superhuman persona is what sets him so on edge. Whoever has been following him and watching him is after Peter Parker, and he doesn't like it. Peter Parker is where he's allowed to be vulnerable and scared and safe. Peter Parker shouldn't be watched. It's unnerving. But no matter how many times he tries to hone his senses to find them, they just slip past him. It'd be easier if his spider senses would just make up his mind as to whether or not they're dangerous, instead of the weird limbo of only dangerous if you give them reason. It means he doesn't know quite where they are. Tingles running up and down his spine rather than being concentrated in one spot like it is when he has to dodge, or when he's being watched with someone with blatantly bad intentions, like Craven. School has lunch though, so it's worth it. Wait, is this his first day in Gotham with 3 meals? Go Peter. He shovels the food into his mouth, ignoring the jolts it sends through his front teeth and the rough, dry feeling at the back of his throat. He is grateful that the school meals are covered by the scholarship. Thank God. Blasphemy. 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 He, Danny, and Luke all think in Matt impressions, varying in accuracy. At the same time, and Peter bursts into giggles over his food. He probably looks weird as hell, but it's not like he actually belongs here with the casual displays of wealth and their upper-class accents. And everyone here knows it, so what's the harm? You belong, Spinner. I've only had a brief look around your mind, and it is truly incredible. You must show them. She's right, Peter. The Baxter building wouldn't be nearly as advanced without your input. Yeah, Stevie wasn't any less deserving of being Captain America because he was a straight kid from Brooklyn. If anything, it made him more deserving. Sit straight, child, for you are worthy, and you must show it in every way you are able. Golden fingers ghosted up Peter's spine, causing him to straighten his posture. They're right. Peter does belong here at Gotham Prep, and he's going to show them. I know that you street rats don't have any manners, but I thought you'd at least have some common sense. An already all too familiar voice sneers. It's the guy from English class. The one who would not stop throwing lunch food at him because he looked like he was starving, which technically he is, and decided that his humanitarian effort would be best spent on chucking smelly posh cheese out of his panini. Who takes a panini to school? This is some next level rich bullshit. Anyway, this kid looks like a walking stereotype. Tall, broad shoulders, a vicious grin, and spiky blonde hair. Except, unlike your average Disney Channel bully, he wears an impeccably tailored blazer instead of a varsity jacket, and has the form of a lacrosse player rather than a quarterback. Real piece of work, this guy. Hadn't even had the decency to introduce himself before beginning to torment him. Like, come on, the evil monologue is antagonist 101. Or maybe Peter's judging on high school bullies is skewed due to fighting supervillains every other Wednesday. Who knows? Either way, this jerkwad leans over the desk right into Peter's face. This is my seat, rat. Move before I call an exterminator, he spits. Wow, what an excellent threat. Peter is simply trembling in his boots. Look, man, I picked the first empty seat I saw, and now all the other seats are full, so... The fuck off isn't outright said, but heavily implied. He steps back in disbelief before his offense turns to outrage and he slams his fists on the desk. Why, you needy? You can come sit next to me. Both Peter and the jackass turned their heads towards the voice. It's a boy Peter's age, which is to say a normal age when surrounded by the elderly, with dark skin, close-cropped hair, and an expression that radiates, "Try me, bitch." As if to invite Peter over, he moves a bag, clearly not his own, but the pleading look of the girl to his right. Most of the class had filled any and all empty chairs, with bags and coats, when he walked in as if poverty is an infectious disease that he may somehow pass off to them by sitting in their vicinity. Off of the chair next to him, and pats the newly opened seat. Peter flashes the boy a thankful look and quickly picks up his singular pencil and notebook, stuffs them into his bag and rushes over. He slides into the new seat with a "thank you." "Hey, no problem, man. Edson Bright is a grade-A douchebag." He sticks out a hand. "I'm Duke, by the way. Duke Thomas." "Peter Parker." He sticks out his hand and allows Duke to take it, attempting to avoid crushing the fingers of the only nice guy in the whole school, and smiles in a way that he hopes conveys his gratitude. All of a sudden, he feels the stifling drone of his spider sense vanish. He almost sighs in relief. Duke's eyes momentarily widen before he asks, "So, Peter, looks like we're going to be partners for the rest of the year." "Yeah, man. Sorry about that. I kind of suck at history, but I can definitely help out in the flashcards and note-taking department." Duke's face momentarily flashes with confusion before he slumps down on his desk like an enormous weight has just been lifted off his shoulders. "Oh, thank God. I was stuck with shitty partners the last 2 years back at Robinson, and you don't know how happy it makes me that I'm not going to be stuck doing all the work again this year." "Yeah, man, I know how that feels." He schools his face as solemnly as he possibly can. "I hereby promise to do my share of the work." Duke follows his lead and nods gravely. An unbreakable oath. They both hold their somber expressions before making eye contact and dissolving into laughter. "Oh, I like you." He smiles brightly. "I thought everyone here was going to be a stuck-up prick like Edison, but you're great. You not from around here?" "Nah, man, I'm Narrows, born and raised. I just transferred here because it's closer to my new house and my foster dad is loaded." "Where are you from? You don't sound like a Gothamite. No offense." "None taken. I'm from New York. I only moved here recently to stay with a family friend in Crime Alley. I got in on a scholarship." Duke nods thoughtfully. "Crime Alley, huh? That's shitty luck. It's so bad out there, bats don't even patrol it." "Really?" "Red Hood's been stalking me all over there. I thought he was a bat, you know?" He gestured to his chest. "Bat insignia and all?" It's complicated." He does a double take. "Wait, Red Hood was stalking you?" Peter nods and Duke breaks into a blindingly mischievous grin. "Tell me everything." School lets out and Duke promises to see Peter tomorrow, slipping a piece of paper with a scrawled phone number into Peter's hand so that they can coordinate studying together. Peter just kind of stands there and lets it happen, gaping like a fish at the ease at which he acquired a new friend. Duke waves a goodbye and walks towards the group of students who Peter assumes to be his infamous siblings. Peter waves back dazedly and heads in the direction of Crime Alley. The moment he rounds the corner, his head explodes in celebration. "Well done, Peter. You handled that digwad Bright well. We are very proud of you. First day of school!" He hears the sound of a confetti cannon and briefly questions where on earth they got a fucking confetti cannon, before remembering that they aren't real and probably don't obey the law of physics. Wanda made the confetti cannon. Danny pulled it. Dr. Richard said doubtfully. Yeah, that tracks. The happiness coming from so many heroes that he looks up to fills him with an overwhelming joy, and he quickly thanks them for their compliments. You're welcome, Peter, they all chorus. Alright guys, now it's the end of chapter 14 of Green Through and Through by Another Fucking Robin. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next chapter.